Take that leap of faith, people. If something feels right, don't back yourself out in the corner. Learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Life is bigger than you. It's not all about what you want. Your plan. Yes, you have your goals, you have your dreams, you have your aspirations. But there's going to be curveballs. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be times people knock you down.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, we have a very special guest. He is a good friend of ours. He has graced this program several times. He is a speaker, an author, an entrepreneur, a sports analyst, a philanthropist. He is many, many things, but he is an amazing man at the end of the day. The one and only Eric LeGrand. What is happening, my man?
It's great to be back with you guys. I've known you guys for a few years now, and every time we get to talk and catch up, it's always a blessing.
Well, we appreciate you. So I was telling you in the preamble, I actually have Eric's book here. I haven't been able to do this with anybody else because I'm a terrible host, but Eric has a book called Believe, My Faith and the Tackle That Changed My Life. I very much recommend anything that Eric puts out. So much motivation and inspiration and a great down-to-earth dude. I'm going to put it right here so you guys can see it. That's fancy right there.
Nice.
Here we go.
Right next to the salt lamp and my coffee.
Here we go. All right, my man. So, it's been a minute since we've talked. How has, let's just get right into it. How has COVID changed the life of Eric LeGrand? Obviously, for those who aren't watching and who haven't listened, Eric is in a wheelchair. And if you want to quickly tell your story, I know we've talked about it deeply, but for those who haven't heard the episodes before with you, who's Eric?
Sure. So Eric is a former Rutgers football player who was paralyzed back in 2010. We just went by my 10-year anniversary on October 16th, just last month. And, the prognosis in the very beginning was very grim. The doctors didn't think I would do a lot of different things that I am able to do today. I didn't know where my life was going to take me 10 years ago. But honestly, I can say every day since then has been nothing short of a miracle and a blessing. I know the things I've gotten to do, the places I've gotten to go, and the people I've gotten to meet, and just so many opportunities that have come up in my life to where I am today. It's just spectacular, and that's why I truly believe in miracles.
When we didn't ask this last time, when you got the diagnosis and you were kind of like figuring out, okay, this is my new way of life, did you believe that you were going to be able to prove the doctors wrong to some degree? Or did you just kind of did you ever want to just take their word for it? Or did you want to prove them wrong?
It's funny because in the very beginning, they told my mom this and my teammate and my friends, but right before I went into surgery, I guess the adrenaline was still flowing from the game. And I said to her, I'll be back. And when she heard me say that, she said, okay, whoever goes in that room from here on out, no matter how long it is, you better have a positive attitude. You better be uplifting, motivating. Do not let him see you upset. Months upon months go by, and I found out, my friends left absolutely devastated after seeing me hooked up to tubes and just stiff in the bed. But everyone that came to my room was just so positive. And I was like, you know what? I got to fight. I got to battle. Then once my mom said, Eric, let me know when you want to have that talk. And a few weeks went by, and I finally said, Mom, what happened? And she told me. But I went right into that athlete mindset, and I was just like, you know what? No way. I'm starting to battle back now. I'm already fighting. I'm pushing. I got all these people now supporting me throughout the entire world. There's no way I can give up on them.
Mm-hmm. Eric, I was on the phone earlier with one of our new team members, and I said that I'm so excited for today because I get to talk to Eric. And I basically said to her, so she's a new team member. She has never listened to the episodes we've done prior. And for a lot of our new listeners, this will be new. But basically what I told her is that you have gone through adversities that most people genuinely cannot fathom, including myself. And, I had, pulled my groin and I had an ear infection recently and I was being a baby about it. And I was like, you know what? You are so blessed, Alan, in so many ways. And to be completely frank, Eric, you just give so many people so much hope because, and I told her this on the phone earlier, I said, to see Eric so uplifting, so positive, happy, and fulfilled, and of course you have your tough days too, but the fact that he can make a meaningful, impactful life with the limitations that he's currently working through is just the best thing in the world. And so I think you give hope to so many people who might lose sight of their blessings. And what would you say to someone who's out there right now, who's been going through a hard time? Because I think your attitude has had to be 1,000 times more positive than Kevin or I's to get through what you've gone through. And I think that that's really what you can give our listeners today.
Yeah, I feel like people need to, find their purpose. And sometimes you go through struggles and tribulations to get to that purpose. But when something bad happens in your life or some adversity actually happens, people need to, you take your time to sulk. Yes, you're going to have those periods. I don't blame people for having that. You're going to have those times. But after a while, you need to take that step back, evaluate the whole situation. What happened? Why it happened? What do I need to do to change it? Then you go into the stages of formulating an actual plan on what you need to do to make yourself happy, or how the things that you want to do to perform better, whether if it's in your business life, social life, whatever it is, and then executing. The executing part is the hardest part. People can step back, they can look at their situation, they can write down all these things that they're going to do, but then having the right mindset or the discipline to actually go out there and execute the plan is the hardest part. And I always try to tell people, trained behavior becomes instinct. Do things that are actually difficult and tough. People say, wow, you're so mentally tough, you're so mentally strong. That doesn't happen overnight. It's putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, doing things that you don't want to do, and then overcoming those situations and then realizing, oh, I can withstand this. I can overcome this. And I try to tell people, all right, try to do something that you don't want to do. Wake up every day, say you don't like making your bed. Do that 5 days in a row. Get up, make the bed. That's the first thing you do is make your bed, even though you don't want to. Do it. After those 5 days are over, that 6th day comes and you're just like, feel kind of weird if I don't make my bed. I should do that,
Right.
I think it sets you off in a different way when you don't, after like that 5 day period goes by. Wait, I should be doing this right now. It's that trained behavior become an instinct. And when people start to grasp onto that, it just are so much better off.
What's something that you've done recently or you're about to do or you're currently in the process of doing that was very uncomfortable for you and you had to do that like, all right, this is what I do. Like, I know it's scary, but I'm going to do it anyway. What's a good example of that recently for you?
Well, I guess I should hit you with the home run right away. I'm opening up a business right in the middle of a pandemic.
And that'll do it.
As I mentioned before we came on the air, the coffee you're drinking, well, guess what? I'm opening up my own coffee shop in my hometown.
Let's go.
Right, let's go.
I'm opening up an online store that will be opening up in January and February. So talk about stepping out of my comfort zone and in the middle of a pandemic, going through everything that's going on, being able to open up a business. It's not easy, but I could put all my, everything into place. I got a great team around me. I'm taking that leap of faith. And I truly believe it's going to be something special. Got a huge plan that I'm ready to execute, ready to blow it up, like I said, on my online store in the new year. And then next summer in Woodbridge, New Jersey, you'll be seeing LeGrand Coffee House.
Let's go, man. Well, you got your first couple sales right here, man. We'll order it right after this interview.
Literally. We'll have it delivered straight to the studio right outside that door.
I love it, man. Yeah, this is something that was definitely uncomfortable. I didn't know if I should do it, especially when the idea came to me over the summer, and we're right in the midst of everything with COVID. I'm like, do I really want to do this? How am I going to be able to? If I open it up in the summer, will we be in a place where I can actually get people to come there? If there's going to be a certain amount of people that are allowed in there, the capacity wise. So yeah, there was a lot of questions about it, but I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. That this idea came to me during this time. And hopefully in August of 2021, we'll be in a much better place in the world.
How do you decide? How do you figure out whether it's aligned or not? Like you said, well, I wasn't sure if I should do it or not, but I felt like it was the right choice. Like, how do you decide what's right and what might be, just a hope or how do you decide how to take action on that?
I'm glad that you actually said that because, guess what? This idea came to me July 11th. July 11th, I remember the day. I was talking about it. It all came from a group of friends always every morning sending their coffees to our group message. What each person got every single day. We've been doing this for years. Everyone's sending this. Guess what? I didn't have my first cup of coffee in my life until August.
Wow.
Never had a cup of coffee in my life until August. So the whole idea of a new development going in my hometown down in Woodbridge. I love the cafe vibe. Even though I wasn't a coffee drinker, now I am. Even though I love the cafe vibe. And I said to myself, that could really be a really cool business opportunity. Then I took the leap of faith and I started going online, taking classes, educating myself. But it was the whole thing of, just taking that step. Is that, when something feels right, I feel like people get these opportunities. Sometimes they feel right, but they get caught up and say, nah, not just now. Nah, that's not it. I said, forget everything else. It feels right. I may not be an avid coffee drinker, but I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to learn about this business. And I'm going to go full through with it. And I believe I'll be successful. And I'll surround myself with the right people, the right advisors in order to do this. But I'm going to make it happen because it just feels right. Take that leap of faith, people. If something feels right, don't back yourself out in the corner. Learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Eric, have you all, and Kevin and I kind of know this because we've interviewed you before, but where does that finding a way to be comfortable being uncomfortable? You know what's interesting? I think that some people, my girlfriend's like this. You haven't met Emilia yet, but she's an absolute sweetheart. I met her. Our 1-year anniversary was recently. I'm actually looking forward to you meeting her at some point. But she is one of those people who I can tell is uncomfortable when they're comfortable, because she wants to expand and grow, and she wants to develop herself and challenge herself. She seeks challenge in everything. Even weight training, we just started going to the gym together a couple months ago, and she's like crushing it. So she's comfortable being uncomfortable, and she's uncomfortable when she's comfortable. And I hope I'm making sense for all the listeners here. Is that how you've always been too, or did you have to develop that over time?
I think it develops over time. My life growing up as an athlete, it's like you can never get comfortable.
Right.
Even when you are, there's always the next challenge. The next guy that's bigger than you, the next guy that's stronger than you, the next guy that's faster than you. People need to incorporate that sometimes into their life. It feels comfortable when you get there, but I feel like Emilia, she's on a path where I'm never going to be satisfied with myself. I feel like I can always get better. And there's not many people that can do that or act like that. It's easy to say it, to actually do it. So I respect her already without even knowing her. Because you can feel comfortable and people can be like, pat you on the back. You're doing it so well. But in your head, that's where those champions are made. Like, no, I'm not satisfied with this. You see a lot of time with athletes. Yes, they win 1 ring, 2 rings, but they're never satisfied. It's like more. Or as you guys know, being up in that New England area, Tom Brady. I was never satisfied. 1 ring, 2, now 3, 4, 5, 6 damn rings. You know what I mean? It's not easy to get to that level. It's not. It's not for everyone. But to be able to sit there, first off, being confident in yourself, to know, okay, I'm going to put myself to work here, but then taking that next step and say, you know what? Yes, that was great and all, but I won't be satisfied. I want to make it to being the absolute best that I can possibly be. And when I don't feel that passion anymore, then I'll relax.
I want to jump in here real quick. Sure. So we saw a video where you were able to meet, you mentioned Tom Brady, you were able to meet Tom and the Patriots. And we all, basically, I remember thinking to myself, I believe it was them circled around you, and they were basically just kind of in awe of some of the adversity that you've been through. And they were basically saying to you, like, Eric, we wish you were here with us, because you would have been. You were projected to be in the NFL and all that awesome stuff. How did that feel for you to be around such, well-developed people who not just are good athletes, but are, good humans? What does it feel like for you to meet people like Tom Brady or The Rock or Matthew McConaughey? Like, what does that feel like for you? And what can you bring to the listeners that you've learned from people like that?
I think you just said it first right now. They're humans. We put celebrities on such a high pedestal, and that's what they do. Sometimes they deserve to be up there. But when they actually see you, they hear your story, they know about your story, it humbles them. It brings them down to that sensibility where when they walk into the room, that all the cameras aren't on them. They know your story. They know what you're going through. Obviously, as a football player, they know we can relate in some ways when it comes to football, but other people, they see you, they see what I'm going through, what I'm dealing with, and they hear about your story. Like, you know what? That person is doing everything that he can. I'm gonna be grateful for what I have. And I think that's what it makes people look like, step back and be like, everything that I have in my life, look what happened to him. And he's smiling bigger than I am. Or he's as happy as he can be. It humanizes people. It brings them down just to earth when they get to see me come rolling in my wheelchair and just putting a smile on my face like I always do. What you see is what you get. And I think when I talk to people, it kind of soothes them, comforts them to realize, don't feel bad for me. And it makes some people say, like, I want to be as happy as him. And it's just a compliment every time I get to hear that.
Is that your purpose, Eric? Is that part of your purpose?
I feel like it is. I feel like my purpose is to help people go through adverse moments in their lives. Help them realize when you can look at me and you see my situation and they're like, wow, if he's going through all of that stuff and half the stuff I don't even know, but he's here and he's living his life to the fullest. What do I have to complain about? What do I have to go back? Like, why? Like all this stuff that's bottled up in my mind, it just puts things in perspective. I actually did an interview, back, I want to say about 2 years ago, with Joe DeFranco, big, lifting guy into the lifting industry, helps a lot of athletes as a personal trainer. And he says, every time I see your situation, it makes me say this, compared to what? He goes, let me explain that to you. I may be having a bad day. I'm in traffic. The lines, I'll get a flat tire, whatever it is. I look at my situation. I say, damn, this may suck. But compared to what? Mm-hmm. Eric's right now, I'm maybe on the side of the road changing the tire. Eric's getting lifted out of bed by 2 nurses and getting into a shower chair just to get himself ready for the day. Mm-hmm. When you start looking at, I may be going through this and that, but compared to what? Because some people love and pray to be in the same position that you're in right now, or the position that you're complaining about.
So powerful.
It's such a great distinction. Eric, we've talked about that so much. Like, one of the greatest things about having a podcast is the fact that we get to interview amazing people who 99 times out of 100 have been through different or more adversity, or they just have different experiences. And we always talk about you, almost every time, of like Eric LeGrand, Isabella Picard, shout out to Bella, right? I know you guys are buddies, right? They have and had every excuse in the book. I remember when we visited you at your house, we weren't even on the highway in New Jersey, and you had already posted about us being there. Like, you do more with your cell phone by talking to it than a lot of people do, with 2 hands and all the time in the world. So you've always been super inspirational to me. Who inspires you? Because everybody's going to leave here saying like, oh, what an inspirational guy, so motivational, great heart, amazing, amazing person. Who inspires you? Who lifts you up?
I think there's a few things. Obviously, my mom, who you guys know very well. For those of you who don't know my mom, she's amazing, crazy, amazing. But she literally dropped everything to learn about how to take care of her quadriplegic son. What do I need to do? What do I need to look out for? What are the techniques? All right, she's always doing stuff behind the scene when it comes to insurance policies, making sure my medication is here, driving me from this place to that place, running the household, She's my motivation because I want to be able to get back to an independent lifestyle where I don't need her to do that. She can just relax. She's done so much for me over the years, pre-injury and post-injury. One day I want to just have her be, relax, watch all your TV shows, because that's what she loves, her TV shows. I just kick up and not have to worry about anything and go walk the dog. That's what she loves doing.
Which she's doing right now.
Right?
Exactly. Walking the dog. Her 2 miles every day.
I think that's a horse, Eric. It's not a dog. I was going to say, if
you haven't seen Diesel, there's a picture of me on Instagram with him. He is
larger
the nicest creature in the world, but he is terrifying.
He's a Cane Corso, 138 pounds, an Italian Mastiff right there.
I love him.
But from there, also another guy by the name of Adam Teleferro, because of my injury. He had a similar injury back in 2001 or 2000. He was playing for Penn State. As a freshman, went to make a tackle as a cornerback versus Ohio State. And he was paralyzed. He had a 0 to 3% chance of never doing this, never doing that, walking again, all that stuff. And a year and a half later, he went out to Beaver Stadium and he led his team back on the field. And when I met him a few months after my injury, he came walking into my room. I didn't know who he was. Shared his story a little bit with me and put on the video, and I saw that. This was probably November, December of 2010. And still to this day, I can remember the chills that went through my body of thinking about that, and that motivates me every day. Mm-hmm. And the third, I would say, is the people. I feel like I wake up every day with a purpose, a reasoning. So many people are looking up to me, using me as motivation. And I've always been the type of person where if it's my responsibility, my job, I'm getting it done. Like, I'm never going to be the one on the team that just saying, he's the one, that's the weakling. He's the one that's slacking. He's not. So that's kind of what they're my motivation because, everyone looks to me for so much inspiration. It's like, how can I let them down? This is what I'm here to do.
Does that ever get heavy? Does that ever get heavy on you where it feels like the weight of the world?
Honestly, I've been doing this now for 10 years. I don't feel like it gets heavy. I wake up every day with a new adventure, something to go after, something to be happy about. Like, when some people wake up and they're getting out of bed, they're like, oh, another day, gotta do this. That ain't me. I may wake up a little bit groggy, like,
you need that coffee. You need that coffee, Eric.
Exactly. Once I'm up in the bed, it's like, okay, what do I have today? Like, what am I jumping out today? What am I doing? You know what I mean? So that's why I feel like it doesn't really get heavy because I am who I am. If I had to put on a front and put on a show, I'd probably say, yeah, my shoulders are a little bit, I feel a little bit, sore right now, but this is who I am. So I'm just being me. So that's the best part about it.
Eric, I have a few things written over here. I wanted to ask you a little bit about meaning and identity. I think that, early in my journey, I remember there was a lot of things that I was valued for and validated for. And obviously you were an incredible football player and you got a lot of validation and a lot of people valued you for that, understandably. But I think that unintentionally, especially when we're younger, that becomes our identity. It becomes what we think we are. And when something happens that changes that, I think very few people go through a drastic identity shift where there's that much change in such a short amount of time. I think we're all changing our identity as we grow and evolve, but yours changed overnight. How did you get through that? And what was in your head of like, oh my God, like, I guess, what would you tell someone about who you believe you are today versus who you believed you were before the accident? And if you could go back and talk to Eric a day after the accident to give him hope for his own brighter future, like, what would you say to him if he would really take it in and listen?
I'd say, listen, you may be laying on this bed right now with tubes coming out of every different direction. You can't move. You're in the neck brace, all this stuff. But your journey is just getting started. You have a whole life ahead of you. The amount of people that you're going to touch right now because of who you are, who you were raised to be, brought up to be, it's going to pay off. How you've treated people the first 20 years of your life is about to pay off for you. How you respected people, what you have done through this, this small amount of 20 years of being an athlete, what you were able to develop, the life skills, is going to help you along this run. Now, things aren't going to be easy. They're not going to be fun. But at the end of the day, you're going to find your purpose through it all. You're going to find your purpose through this adversity I'm about to put you through, or that you're about to go through. And once you start to realize that this is your new life, this may be your new normal, you'll still be just as motivated as you were to play football to make it to the NFL, to now being able to get up and walk on your feet, but able to impact so many other people along the way and being able to help them through moments that you don't even know, people that you never even met in your life. You may have shared a message with them, and it's helped them to move on and become a better person. And watch who this best version of Eric LeGrand turns into be. The best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come.
Fire.
Yeah.
Do you ever, this is one of the things I wanted to ask. Okay, you are impacting, inspiring, motivating, touching, giving hope to, giving vision to, giving purpose to immeasurable amounts of people. If you did go on to be Eric LeGrand playing for, who did you want to play for? What?
That's a great question. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan. For whoever's paying those bills, I'm playing for. That don't matter. What doesn't matter? Well, it doesn't matter at that point. If I had a choice, of course, I would love to play in Denver. Of course, if I'm from New Jersey, local team here. But whoever's cutting that check to pay the bills, that's where you go.
So say Denver ponied up the dough to get Eric LeGrand on the squad. Do you think you'd be having the same impact that you're having now? A lot of players have these huge platforms. J.J. Watt's a great example. He does a lot of philanthropy and donations and volunteering. But do you think you'd be in the same position doing the same thing? And do you think you'd be as fulfilled doing it?
No. I'll straight up tell you no. If you knew me playing football, that would have been great. I would have made it to the NFL, and the people that knew football, I could have made an impact on them. Who knows? I might have been, I had more followers and been this, type of football star. But the amount of people that know me now from off the field would have never probably like, Eric LeGrand, who's that? So the amount of people that have came up to me and told me that I don't know anything about football, never watched it down on football, but I know your story and that's impacted me. It just speaks, numbers into, they're just people being regular people. Just because I'm an athlete doesn't mean I'm not a regular person or I can't touch a regular person. Or that person looking at my story and what I went through as an athlete and using that as, to overcome something that they're dealing with, even if they never played it down of anything or played any type of sport. So I always say, if I played football, made it to the NFL, you might have known me as an NFL football player, but you wouldn't know me as who Eric LeGrand is now, at 30 years old and the impact I've been able to make through this situation.
10 years is a long time, Eric. You were 20 when this happened. You're 30 now. In 10 years, what is the most important thing that you've learned on this journey? If you were to try to give it to our listeners right now.
I would say two things. One is patience. I've always been an instant gratification guy. I'll work for something. And if you tell me, okay, the season's coming up in September, I'll work my butt off January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. That's fine. But now when you're in a situation like this one, you don't know when that light is going to come at the end of the tunnel walking again. Having the discipline and the patience to work towards a goal that you can't see. Having the faith, that is faith. You can't see it. You just have to have faith. I've been able to gain patience in not being able to control things I can't control. A lot of times people get messed up with that. When something's out of their control, they lose their mind. I've learned to accept that. Some things I just can't control. So patience is one of them. And the other one is just appreciation on life. I have seen so many negative situations that have come out of this. People that unfortunately may not be here with us today after having a spinal cord injury. People that don't have the same support system that I have, don't have the same mindset because of all the training I had as an athlete. Don't have the same, confidence in themselves to go out there. And it's made me put things in perspective for myself where I am so thankful for the life lessons I've learned and the things I had to go through to have a sharp mind, to be strong, even through the tough times, realizing that no matter how bad my situation may be, someone always has it worse, no matter what. No matter how bad your situation may be in life, someone will always have it worse than you.
You talked about mindset and having a strong, powerful mindset. What if you had to maybe unlearn? Like, what has your inner work been in terms of like meditation or visualization? Like, the mindset is one thing. The mindset of an athlete, like you're a grinder and you get it done. But when it comes to like the patience and the inner work and the loving yourself and understanding the greater good of all this, like what is the practice for that for you?
Well, actually, it just I guess I always had most of it, but I guess it amplified it more during COVID. As you guys know, I'm very extroverted. I love to be out and about in the public talking. I lost out on a bunch of speaking engagements, and I had to pivot certain things going certain ways. And I said to myself, I've never been a book guy. I read my own book, went through that. And before reading that book, I can't say the last book that I read before that back in 2012. But I actually started listening to audiobooks over these times in quarantine.
Mm.
And it was all about the mind. I wanted to learn how people work their lives and how they were able to be where they are. I started off with the U.S. Women's National Team captain Carly Lloyd's book and her story and her journey. Then I went to David Goggins, and that is woo! That is a whole nother level right there of just the mind and the focus of
Can't
what
hurt
people
me.
what people have been through and where that man loves to just put himself through all types of torture to see where he can actually what he can handle.
Right.
It's crazy. And then also realizing you always know Nike. The book changed my life forever. Nike with Phil Knight. You hear Nike. When we were born, Nike was always big. I had no idea the grind that it took to build Nike and the 18 years of commitment and all the life lessons that he learned. And
Mm.
I got to read his biography, Shoe Dog, and it changed my life. And it also helped me launch the coffee shop. But all these different things, I just wanted to learn and dig into these people's minds. And the biggest thing I would have to say that I took from all of them, whether it was Carly Lloyd not having a good relationship with her family, but still going on and pushing for her soccer dreams. David Goggins' upbringing with his dad as an abusive dad and
Oh.
having to, overcome so much with that and living in a racist town and, going through the army. To Phil Knight going around the world after supposed to travel around the world with his friend. Friend finds a girl and leaves him. Now he's traveling around the world on his own. Comes back and creates a shoe company, gets sued every type of way that's possible. Throughout the years, the biggest thing I learned about all these people is all this stuff was thrown at them, but they stayed focused on what they wanted, the task at hand, the goal. And all this stuff is going around. That's in life. All this chaos is going around us. Self-doubt, all these people telling me we can't do this, can't do that. All these obstacles thrown our way. But knowing that, there's a bigger purpose, a greater purpose for it all. These people were able to keep the mental ability, mental stabilization to stay focused, say, I'm going to push through it all. Yes, I don't have a great relationship with my family, but I'm still focused on my goal to become a champion. Yes, I grew up in a racist town. I've been called every racist word that was possible. I've been beat by my dad, but I'm going to go out there and I'm going to serve our country. Yes, Phil, my friend left me behind. I've been sued this way, started this business, has failed over and over again. And now I'm one of the biggest billionaires in the world. That type of stuff, being able to take on adversity thrown away every single time, and able to push through and overlast it and not get into that, oh man, it's never going to work. It's the biggest thing I've taken from my mind. And now I feel like with me now, after hearing some of these books, adversity is going to come. I don't ask for it, but I know it will. It continues every day. But having the right mindset to just stay focused on that task at hand and keep chopping through it, as we would say at Rutgers.
Fire.
At the end of one of my speeches, I said, I do not wish for you, I'm speaking to the audience, I do not wish for you to have an easy life, but a deeply meaningful one. And, I don't know if you've ever read the book by Viktor Frankl, A Man's Search for Meaning. But it's basically, he was a psychologist in World War II who was in a concentration camp. And he basically, even though externally everything was quote unquote taken from him and he was witnessing all of that hardship and death around him, he still found meaning in it and was able to take those experiences, put it in a book, and help so many people get perspective. And I've read that book dozens of times, if not 100. I listen to it before bed often. And I guess my question for you is, what gives your life meaning? And what would you say to someone who is more hopeless and nihilistic and doesn't have a deeply meaningful, fulfilling life? Like, what would you say to them? So first question is, what makes your life so meaningful? What makes you fulfilled? Second part is, what would you tell someone who feels hopeless and nihilistic?
The first part I would say is knowing that life is bigger than you. It's not all about what you want, your plan. Yes, you have your goals, you have your dreams, you have your aspirations. But there's going to be curveballs, there's going to be hiccups, there's going to be times people knock you down. It's knowing that sometimes your purpose is to be an inspiration for other people, to motivate people. And one day when you're doing all of this, you're going to learn about yourself and you'll see the great blessings that come your way through the just naturally giving back to people, giving back to others. That's just the way life is. And not everything's going to go as we plan, but knowing that life is just bigger than myself. There's what, 330 million people that live in this country. I don't even know how many people in the entire world. Life sometimes has a bigger purpose than what you think. How come I didn't get this and that person got this? Do you know that person's story? Do you know what that person been through? That whole background? Do you know what they may have a bigger purpose or do something else? And that is fine. But knowing and finding your purpose and being able to be the best that you can be in that area, that's what it's all about. And what was the second? And then you said for someone that's in a downtime right now.
Yeah, someone who feels hopeless, like their life doesn't have any meaning. What would you say?
Oh, every life has meaning. Every life has meaning, no matter what. You may be down. You may have lost a job, lost a relationship, lost a loved one, and you feel like you're just lost. And what is the purpose of life? Believe me, you're in that exact moment at that exact time for an exact reason. It's to being able to, like I said, sit back and figure out what that is. Go through your tough moment, deal with that whole situation, yes. But after that, life goes on. You need to figure out, okay, this is what I may not feel like I'm here for a reason, but there's a purpose to this. Take every lesson. I'm supposed to learn something from this. You start looking at, okay, this happened for a reason. I've got to learn from this situation, good and bad. How to deal with failure, how to deal with success. There's learning periods. If you look at life through a learning process and an understanding process, it will allow you to have a more fulfilling process through life.
Fire. All right, say there's what, 8 billion people in the world?
It's coming up on 8. I think
Right.
it's 7.3 or
We'll
something.
say there's 7.3 billion people in the world. They pull you up on stage and they put a microphone in your face and they say, Eric LeGrand, give me one piece of wisdom that everybody in the world can take something from. What do you say?
My definition of life. The piece of I want everyone to live a life by this statement. The peace of mind you get knowing you did everything you could to be the best that you could be, then you'll be successful. That's the peace of mind you get knowing you did everything you could to be the best that you can be. You're the only one that can look yourself in the mirror at night, whatever that you do. If you're a doctor, a lawyer, nurse, a businessman, whatever it is, you say, did I give my all? Did I lay everything out on the table? And if so, you should be able to put your head down on that pillow and relax at ease and say, you know what? I gave him my all. I'm going to get a good night's sleep. And if not, God willing, you wake up the next day, you look yourself in that mirror again, and you say, you know what? Today's going to be the day that I'm going to be the absolute best that I can be. And when you start doing that over and over and over again, watch where your life takes you.
Mm-hmm.
Watch.
I appreciate you giving us your all. Dude, you're speaking?
Yeah.
Your speaking has come way. You've definitely been practicing that, man, for sure.
They're learning to talk and try to make an impact virtually now.
Yeah, you're doing
Can't do everything in person, so got to learn how to make an impact virtually.
Amazing. Genuinely amazing.
Yeah.
Genuinely amazing. Okay, where can people find out more about Eric LeGrand? Where can they get this beautiful hardcover book that I'm here holding in my hand? Look at me.
You can find my book all on Amazon. It's still on Amazon through there. You know, that's just Believe My Faith and Tackle That Changed My Life. And also for children's version, The Victorious Story of Eric LeGrand. Same thing. But everything else, find my website, ericlegrand52.com. My Instagram pages and all my social medias at ericlegrand52. And also give us now a follow on our coffee shop, LeGrand Coffee House. It's coming to you live.
I'm gonna do it right after this.
Well, online in the new year, but next summer in person with a storefront. So be sure to make sure you get some coffee. I got some really, really good stuff.
I love it.
Eric, such a pleasure. You seem very fulfilled, you've certainly developed your speaking skills, and just in general since we've last spoke, it's a lot can happen in a year and a half. I know we rebranded and it seems like you've evolved so much. Eric, this exceeded my expectations. I came into this so excited. Kevin did too. I mean, we talked yesterday, and it's like, let's make this thing happen. And you just exceeded both our expectations. This is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story with our listeners. And I know every single person who listens to this episode is going to wake up tomorrow and even right after this wanting to be the very best they can be, because it's that mentality why you were headed to the NFL and why you're going to be even doing bigger and greater things. It's that mentality of every single day, looking in that mirror going, I did everything I could. And when you don't, and that's the part I loved, is when you don't, you look back in that mirror and say, today, because we've all had that day where it's like, didn't give it my all.
Today.
Right.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Not willing the next day wake up with that chance to attack it again. Make sure you make it that day. And I appreciate all the kind words. And we are Next Level University, man. We gotta take the next step. So I appreciate you guys having me on.
We appreciate you, man. It's amazing to call you a friend, to see your journey, and I hope the listeners will follow up with you, because again, you are changing the world in your way, and you're just getting started, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the one and only Eric LeGrand.
Talk to you soon.